I was 4 minutes late. You can dock me later. All right? Prosecutor, when you're ready.
Thank you, Judge. The state calls Ben Paolucci.
So just watch your step. If you can put your left hand on the Bible, raise your right hand for me. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? You can get comfortable, sit down. Can you state your full name for the record and spell your last name, please?
Beniamino Paolucci, Paolucci.
All right, so I'm just going to ask to make sure you speak up so juror number 15 and 16 can hear you, okay?
Yeah.
Prosecutor?
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Paolucci, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm going to ask you where it is that you live.
Colts Neck, New Jersey.
Approximately how long have you lived there?
2013.
Okay. And can you tell us, for purposes of background, what you do for a living?
I work for Amazon.
Okay. What do you do for Amazon?
I work for WHS, the just health and safety.
Okay. Now, I want to take you back to the time frame of November 2018. You remember that time?
Yes, sir.
Did you know someone by the name of Keith Caneiro?
Yes, I did.
Hey, could you tell us how you knew Keith Caneiro?
I knew Keith through my son. Jesse and my son were in the same grade, and we met at Jesse's birthday party.
When did you meet, approximately?
I want to say around 2014, 2015.
Now, your son, for purposes of context, in November of 2018, how old was your son?
He was about 8, 9 years old, something like that. Maybe, no, he was about 11 years old.
Okay. Did you know Jesse Caneiro?
Yes.
How old was Jesse Caneiro back then?
Same age as my son, about 11 years old.
Do you know if Keith had any other children?
He did. He had a daughter, Sophia. She was 8.
And did you know if Keith was married?
Yes, he was married to Jennifer.
Now, were you and Keith Caneiro back in 2018, were the two of you close friends?
Yes, very close.
Did you hang out often?
All the time.
Did your kids hang out often?
All the time.
The wives?
Yes, all the time.
So I want to take you back to ask you about, if you recall, the last time that you were with or saw Keith Caneiro.
Yeah,
Do you remember when that was?
it was. I do. It was probably around about the 15th or 16th, maybe 14th. It was a Saturday before.
Saturday before what?
Before the 18th of November.
And the 18th of November, just to be clear, you never saw him after that, correct?
No, I did not.
So I want to draw your attention back to that Saturday before November 18th, November 20th, 2018. Okay? Remember that night? Where were you and Keith Caneiro, if you remember?
We're at my house.
Okay. In Colts Neck?
Yes.
And who was there?
Jesse was there. My son was there. Keith was there. My wife and myself and my daughter.
What were you and Keith doing at your house?
That day we were looking, specifically we were looking at jobs for Amazon or AWS, which is the cloud business. We were looking specifically for jobs there where I was referring Keith or his resume to those jobs. We were applying for roles at Amazon.
Does that require you, an employee of Amazon, to log on to the Amazon employee site?
It doesn't necessarily, but it can. You can do it either internal or external.
Okay. Which way were you doing?
I believe it was internal.
Okay. Now, is it okay for Amazon employees to refer
Yes.
others to potential jobs?
Yes.
Okay. So you and Keith are looking at jobs on Amazon's internal website.
Correct.
And you mentioned AWS. Why?
Keith's business was geared towards that. His business that he had dealt with databases.
Okay, so let's talk about that. What did Keith do for a living?
Keith had a number of businesses, specifically that I knew of 2 of them.
Do you know the names?
Yeah, EcoStar was the exterminator business, which was in Asbury Park, and then he had Square One, which was some type of a database system for companies.
Do you know whether or not Keith was in business with any of his family members?
He was in business with his brother,
Okay, who was his brother?
Paul.
back in 2018, did you know Paul?
Yeah, I did.
Did you spend time with Paul?
Yeah, a lot of time.
And when you spent time with Paul, was Keith there always, sometimes, or something else?
Always.
Okay. So there were times when you spent time with Keith, Paul, and yourself?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you just talked about AWS, and can you tell us if you were able to identify any jobs that you thought might be a fit for Keith?
Yeah, I did.
And those were what type, just generally?
Those jobs were typically around the AWS or the cloud business where the companies would store their data.
Did you and Keith ever have, without getting into what he may have said, did you and Keith ever have any discussions about, cloud storage, so to speak, that business?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you're at your house, you're looking on the Amazon website. Are you using a computer, phone, something else?
Computer.
Okay, whose computer?
My computer.
And who's actually doing the navigation of that computer?
Me.
Okay. Where's Keith?
He's sitting next to me.
Okay. And at any point in time that evening, that Saturday, did you and or Keith apply for any jobs at Amazon?
Yeah, I referred him to a number of positions at Amazon.
And what did that require, the actual application? How did that happen?
It basically required, I believe it was just a small application, but it was more submitting the resume to the job postings to ensure that he met the qualifications.
So those jobs that you thought he may be a fit for, did you and or Keith actually upload a resume
Yes.
at night?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember approximately how many different jobs?
Maybe anywhere from 10 to 12 jobs.
Now, going back to that time frame, you said you spent some time with Paul Caneiro as well, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so you knew him pretty well.
Yeah.
Now, were you ever at Keith Caneiro's house?
Yes.
Okay. Small amount of times or a lot?
A lot of times.
Okay. And were there times you were at Keith Caneiro's house when Paul Caneiro was there as well?
Yes.
Can you talk about the types of gatherings that might have occurred at Keith's house where Paul would also be there?
It was mostly family gatherings. It was a lot of holidays. Easter specifically. Jennifer's father was big on Easter, and we always had celebrated Easter there, Greek Easter specifically. Birthday parties, just barbecues, everything. We were there all the time.
Can you describe Keith Caneiro, Jennifer Caneiro's home based upon your having been there?
It was a big house.
Now, is there a lot of technology in there?
Yeah. Keith was very technical.
Okay. Now, did you ever have any occasion to help Keith out with things around the house?
Yeah.
Okay. What types of things did you help him out with?
We would help him out. I remember one time it was a snowstorm, and we went over there to unclog his main drain for some plumbing, some issues with his pool from some of the piping, PVC pipes in his pool. We redid some of that. Just most of that. Just handy stuff, little handyman stuff around the house.
Okay. Was anyone else ever present when you were helping Keith with things around the house?
Paul.
Okay. Now, was that once or more than that?
More than once.
Was Keith handy?
No. Not. He was very technical, very smart, but he wasn't very handy when it came to things.
Were there times that he asked you for help?
Yes, lots of times.
Were there times that he asked other people for help?
Yes.
Who were those people?
I can recall Paul. You can ask for Paul for help.
Were there times that you and Paul at the same time would help Keith?
Yes.
Okay. Now, going back to that Saturday night, can you tell me if you remember what, if anything, you and Keith did for the kids after applying for the jobs on the Amazon site?
Keith and I went out to dinner.
Okay. Where'd your son and Jesse go?
They stayed at home, at my house. They were playing.
Okay. And where'd you guys go out to dinner, if you remember?
It was 618 in Freehold.
Okay. Now, taking 618 in Freehold on that Saturday night, I don't want you to tell me anything that Keith told you. But can you just describe for me, the overall demeanor of Keith at dinner that night?
He was frustrated.
Okay. And, again, I don't want you to say anything that he told you specifically, but were you aware of why he was frustrated?
Yes, I did.
And
I was.
did you discuss that rationale with him on other occasions as well?
I have.
Okay. Now, based upon his demeanor, were you guys still able to enjoy dinner?
Yes.
Okay. And was there a point in time when you and Keith were discussing, and again, I don't want to know what Keith told you were discussing, like, future, like, job prospects, you've just been applying for jobs and stuff. Can you talk about that?
What specifically you?
So, yes, maybe I should rephrase it. Did you ever have an occasion to become aware that Keith was doing anything, like academically, to advance his future?
Yeah, he was in some online school and getting I don't know if it was his PhD or his master's degree.
Okay. Are you aware of whether or not Keith actually finished that master's degree?
I believe he graduated, yes.
Do you know whether or not he was studying for any other types of certifications or the like?
I know that he was always doing something, but yeah, he was always, I'm not sure what he was, but he was always involved with something as far as whether it was certifications for the the exterminator business, or whether it was just trying to further his education for getting knowledge and certificates for the web services that he had,
Okay.
or the web business.
Now, some of those AWS jobs you discussed earlier, I mean, obviously you viewed the job requirements and stuff when you were on the computer with Keith?
Yes.
And do some of those jobs or all those jobs have certain requirements as far as like certifications and
Correct.
education?
Yes, of course.
Now, going back to that dinner at 618 in Freehold, was there a point in time based upon the conversation you and Keith were having that you kind of provided a piece of advice?
I did.
And what was that?
I told Keith he needed to start worrying about himself and his family, and stop supporting everybody else.
And when you said everybody else, do you recall whether or not you mentioned Paul?
It was Paul, specifically, yeah.
Now, until you finish dinner, where do you go?
Back home, pick up Jesse, and then he went.
So ultimately, did Keith and Jesse leave your home that night?
Correct.
Again, last time you saw them?
That's the last time I saw him, yes.
Now, unfortunately, I want to draw your attention to November 20th, 2018, a couple days later. Remember that?
Yes.
Was there a point in time, and again, I just want to let you know, I'm not asking you to tell us what other people told you, but was there a point in time where you were alerted to something going on at Keith Caneiro's house?
Yes.
Okay. And what was the nature of what was going on at the house?
My wife had called me. I was working at the time in Cranberry, New Jersey, and she had called me and said that Keith's house was on fire, that the neighbor had called her to let her know that there was smoke coming out of the house.
Okay. Do you know whether or not your wife then went anywhere?
She went to the house,
When you say the house, which house are you talking
Keith's house.
about? Okay. And you said you were at work in Cranberry, correct?
Correct.
What did you do? What, if anything, did you do based upon that conversation with your wife?
I started calling Keith. Keith Caneiro, yeah.
Were you able to make any telephone contact with him?
No.
Did you attempt to message him or anything
I
like that?
started texting him as well.
Okay. Now, did he answer the text messages?
No, he did not.
Was there a point in time when you were involved in texting with both Keith Caneiro and Paul Caneiro?
Yes.
Okay. Again, Keith didn't respond, correct?
Correct.
Did you trade text messages at some point November 20th with Paul Caneiro?
I did.
Okay. Now, if I may approach, Judge.
Okay.
Mr. Paolucci, I'm just going to show you what's been marked as S8 for identification. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
And what is that?
Phone calls.
Okay. Now, I don't want you to read anything else other than I'm just going to ask you a question. On this one column that says parties, do you see any names do you see your name or someone else in your family's name?
I see my wife's name on here.
Okay, and what's that?
Salome Paolucci.
Okay. Now, the phone number attached to Salome Paolucci is whose phone number?
That's my phone number.
Okay, so is that the phone that you used back in November 20th 2018?
It is.
Okay. Was your wife the subscriber?
She was.
Okay. Now, you said that you made phone calls to Keith Caneiro, correct? Did you also attempt to make phone calls to Paul Caneiro?
I did.
Okay. And is that what's reflected on that call log?
Yes.
Okay. How many phone calls does it say were made?
Let's see. 2, 3, 4, 5.
So we got 1, correct?
1.
Number 5, entry 5, right? Entry, what number?
3,
Entry,
2,
and entry 1.
1.
And that'd be 4 calls, correct?
4.
Okay. Now, again, you said prior to this, I believe, you attempted to call Keith, correct?
Correct.
Now, we talked about the text messaging that you also engaged in with Keith and Paul, correct?
Correct.
You good with this?
Wait,
Mike?
that's this one, right? How many pages is it?
This is just,
Yeah.
Two.
Is it 9 pages?
for clarity's sake, I'm actually going to show you, it's 55.
Yes.
I'm going to show you defense exhibit, E55, is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm also going to show you S6. Okay, do you see this?
Yeah.
Have we ever discussed these text messages?
We have.
And both D55 and S6, they contain text messages between whom?
It's between myself, Keith, and Paul.
Okay. Now, D55 has, and you can look at it, but tell me if it has the same text messages as S6, except there's a couple more earlier, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So both the text messages that are on S6 are also on D55?
Correct.
Okay. So,
And you're saying this is a group chat between the three of you?
This would be, yeah, a group. I would text both Keith and Paul at the same time.
Okay, that's what I just wanted to confirm. All right.
now, I'm going to specifically draw your attention to this S55, or D55 document. Can you tell us what who sent the first message in that thread?
It's coming from my phone
Okay, to who?
to Paul and Keith.
Okay. And what was the message that you sent?
I said, Keith, your house is on fire.
Okay. And then, did anybody respond before you had a chance to text again?
No.
What did you then send?
I sent another text that said, your neighbor called.
Okay. And then, does anyone respond to that?
Yes. Paul responded.
And what's he say?
He said, did you call 911?
Okay. And then, did anyone else respond?
I responded back, and I said, my wife is calling now. I assume the neighbor did as well.
Okay. And then, does anyone else respond thereafter?
Paul responds.
Okay. And what does he say?
He says, please let me know. I had a fire this morning at 5 a.m.
Okay. Now, for context, that last text from Mr. Paul Caneiro was at what time?
It's going to be at, is that 1:15?
One.
1:15 p.m.
Okay. On 11/20/2018?
Yes.
Okay. Now, was there a point in time after 1:15 p.m. on November 20th, 2018, where you actually just started communicating with just Paul Caneiro?
Yes,
Okay. Who initiated that, if you know?
I did.
Okay. I'm going to show you S7 for identification. Do you take a look at it? Do you recognize what that is?
Yes.
And what is that?
It's texts between Paul and I.
Okay. And again, I think you just said, you then, after that thread with the three of you, you then initiated a text just to Paul Caneiro.
Yes.
Okay. And does this 9-page document, does this fairly and accurately depict or summarize or show the text conversation that you had with Paul Caneiro on November 20th, 2018?
It accurately depicts it.
Okay. And specifically, have we reviewed this in preparation for your testimony?
Yes.
So you've looked at it, correct?
Yes.
Did you have any issues with any of the content?
No.
Okay. Judge, I'm going to ask if I could publish this.
Yeah.
Judge, no objection.
Just be that second one. Sir, do you see that conversation thread on the screen in front of you?
I do.
Okay. Now,
The light down. I'm gonna put the light down so you can see it a little bit better. You guys getting a little bit of a glare? You are? A little bit? All right. We just turn the light. No. One more. There you go.
now, what's on the screen in front of you? Is that the same as S7 that's in front of you right now?
It is.
Okay. And again, text thread conversation between you and who?
Paul Caneiro.
Now, again, who starts the conversation?
I do.
Is it fair to say this is sort of an offshoot of the conversation we just discussed where you and Paul were texting with Keith,
Yes.
trying to text Keith? The first message that's sent here, can you read that for us?
It's text message from my phone to Paul Caneiro's phone. It says, "Are you headed there?"
Okay. What was the time of that?
1:19 p.m.
Okay. We'll go on to the next one. Did anyone respond?
Paul responded.
Okay, and what did he say?
He said, "No, we had a fire at my house at 5 a.m. this morning. We are at the police station in Ocean."
Now, when you received that message at, I believe it says it was read at 1:42:04 p.m., is that accurate?
Yeah, 1:41.
Okay. Said at 1:41, then it says read above.
Oh, read. Yeah. Read at 1:42 p.m.
When you read that about when Paul said I had a fire at my house at 5 a.m. this morning, did you already know that or not?
I did not know his house was on fire. I knew Keith's house was on fire.
Okay, so you text Paul about Keith's house being on fire, and you get that response about Paul's house.
Correct.
I don't want to know what you did or anything, but did you just, when you read that, did you have a reaction to that?
Yeah.
Can we go to the next one? What'd you say next?
I said, "Paul, you need to get to your brother's house now."
And did he respond?
He did.
What did he say?
He asked, "What's going on?"
Okay. Did you respond?
I did. I said, "I don't know what's going on. Sally, who's my wife, I don't know what's going on. Sally is there. Something is wrong."
And Sally is your wife.
Correct.
Correct. Okay. So, you had said previously that Sally, your wife, called you, told you essentially there's a fire at the Caneiro house.
Correct.
And you said your wife was going there, correct?
Yeah.
And now you're telling Paul Caneiro that, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Can I see the next message? Who responds next?
I responded again.
And what'd you say?
I said, "She's crying so much I can't understand her."
And when you say she's crying so much, who were you talking about?
My wife.
That's Sally?
Yeah.
Okay. And does Paul respond?
Yes, he does.
What's he say?
He says, "What is wrong?"
And does he respond again?
He does.
And what's he say?
He says, "Ben, I can believe this."
Question. When you read that in context, did you think he meant to write "can't believe this"?
I can't. Yeah, I assumed he meant can't.
Okay. We go to the next message. Did you respond then?
I did.
What did you say?
I let him know again. I said, "Paul, go to Keith's house."
Okay. And what happened then?
And then he said, he responds back. He says, "Are they okay?"
Okay. Keep going, please.
And then he responds again. He says, "I can't."
Okay. Can we keep going? What's the next message?
"The police won't let us go.
Okay. And then?
We had a suspicious fire this morning. We all got out." I assume he meant out.
And then did he say something again?
"Ben, are they okay?"
And then what was the next message?
I said no.
Now, it's 1:54 and 34 seconds on November 20th, 2018. You just were asked if everyone's okay, and you said no, correct? What did you know, if you remember, at that time on November 20th? Where were you and what did you know?
By that time, I was on my way from work. I left work and I was driving down to Keith's house.
At that point in time, let's just be clear. Had you heard that everyone was deceased or not yet?
There was somebody laying on the floor in the driveway, on the ground.
The next message is what in that thread?
He said, they said the kids were rescued.
Can you see the timing? That Paul said they said the kids were rescued. What time was that?
1:55, you read it?
Let me ask you this, Paolucci. 1:55. Are you at the scene yet or no?
No, I don't believe so.
Did you go to the Caneiro home?
I was on my way yet.
Okay. Now, when Paul said they said the kids were rescued, was that something that you were aware of or not aware of? Did you
There
heard
was
that?
the neighbors that we were close friends with as well, and my wife was there. Nobody had seen the kids. That's why the neighbor called my wife that morning and said that the kids were not on the bus, and they didn't see them.
Gotcha. I don't want to get into what other people told you. I'm sorry.
Okay.
My fault. But I guess my question is this: is that Paul said they said the kids were rescued. Were you told at that point in time that
No,
the kids
I
were
didn't.
rescued?
They were not. No, I was not told that.
Getting towards the end. Can you tell us what the next message is?
I wrote Paul again, and I said, Paul, you need to go.
And then he said what?
They won't let leave Ben talk to me.
Okay. And then
Are
he
the
said
kids
what?
okay?
Okay. And then what's the next message?
I said, I don't know.
Was that accurate? You didn't know?
I did not know at that time.
Now, the next message is what?
Is my brother and Jen okay? I need to know, he said.
Get to the bottom now. Can you tell us what your next message was?
I said, Steve, the neighbor, called.
Where did Steve, the neighbor, where does he live?
He lives across the street from Keith Caneiro's house.
Right across the street? Yes. Okay. And then Mr. Caneiro said what?
I can't breathe.
Okay. And then the last message is at what time?
8:15 at night, 8:15 p.m.
From you to Paul?
Yeah.
And what was your message?
I said, I'm sorry for your loss.
Fair to say at that point in time, you were made aware of.
I was made aware of, what happened. I was made aware that they found the body.
Now, let me just ask you this. During the course of any of your communications with Paul Caneiro on November 20th, 2018, did he ever mention to you anything about Keith texting him in the middle of the night?
No.
Nothing about the power being out at the house?
No.
Right, I have no further questions.
Ross?
Let's start with these text messages. Can we get them back up for a moment? So, we can scroll down just a little bit to the first two messages. Perfect. So, and I'm sorry, how do you say your last name? Is it Paolucci?
Paolucci.
Paolucci?
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Paolucci, on November 20th at 1:41, you text Paul and ask him if he's headed there, correct?
Yeah,
And when you say there, you mean to Keith's house, right?
that's correct.
And Paul responds, no, we had a fire at my house at 5 a.m. this morning. We're at the police station in Ocean, correct?
Correct.
And you knew where Paul lived, right?
I did.
In Ocean Township.
Yes, I did.
So when Paul says we're at the police station in Ocean, you understood that to mean the Ocean Township Police Department, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And the prosecutor had asked you if that was the first time that you were made aware that there was was a fire at Paul's house, correct?
Correct.
And what was your response to that?
Scroll down, let me see what I said. I said, Paul, you need to go to your brother's house now.
No, I'm sorry. What was your response to the prosecutor when he asked you on direct, is that the first time that you found out? I
Yes.
think you had answered yes, right?
Yes.
But actually, in the group text, Paul had told you at 1:15, so about a half hour earlier, he had told you in the group text, I had a fire this morning at 5 a.m. Do you recall that?
Yeah, the group text with Keith and me and Paul.
Would you want to see the message?
Sure.
Okay. Actually, is this, did you publish this, sort of? Do you have
Yeah.
any objection?
No, it's fine.
I'm gonna just put it,
It's D55.
okay, just leave this. Yes, this is D55, and this is, the group text. Not bad. Okay. So, at 1:10, you sent a text to Keith and Paul that says, Keith, your house is on fire, correct?
Yes,
And then you say your neighbor called.
correct,
And that was at 1:10 also.
correct.
Paul responds immediately at 1:10 and says, did you call 911? Correct?
Correct,
And then you respond, my wife is calling now. I assume the neighbor did as well, correct?
correct,
And then Paul says, please let me know I had a fire this morning at 5 a.m.
correct.
Okay. So then a half hour later, when Paul mentions it again, he had already told you, right?
Yeah,
Okay. And I'm sorry, can we get those messages back up now? And we went through the message, it's on page 3. Ben, I can't believe this, that's Paul, right? Yep, right there.
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, this is after you're telling Paul to go to Keith's house, right?
yes,
And you tell him twice. First, you tell him at 1:43. That's page 2. There you go. That's the first time you tell him, right? 1:43. You need to get to your brother's house now.
yes,
And then at 1:44, just a minute later, it's top of page 4. You tell him again, Paul, go to Keith's house, right?
yes,
And Paul's telling you he can't because he's at the police station,
Correct.
right? Yes, and he's telling you that the police won't let him go, correct?
I think he mentioned that, I don't know if it was after that, before that, but he mentioned it somewhere that he wasn't able to leave.
It's the top of page 5. Okay, so Paul says the police won't let us go,
Correct,
right?
yes,
So it's not like he doesn't want to go, he's telling you, I can't, the police won't let us, right? Yes?
yes,
And now, was Paul the first person that you called that day to tell about this fire? The first family
calling
member?
Keith.
Other than Keith?
Yeah,
Okay. Now, you called Paul because you know that they're very close, right?
correct, yes,
And you thought Paul would, of course, want to know if his brother's house is on fire.
yes,
And you assumed that because they're close, Paul would want to be there if his brother's house is on fire.
yes,
And you're recognizing that relationship between the two brothers and saying, you need to go there now. This is your brother and his house is on fire.
yes,
Okay. And when Paul says that he can't go because they won't let us go, he's asking you, like, are they okay? Tell me what you know, right?
Correct. Yes.
And at one point, he says, at the bottom of page 6, they said the kids were rescued, right?
Correct.
They meaning the police, because he's at the police station. Is that
Objection,
what you
Judge.
understood?
Yeah, that's sustained. Don't answer that question.
Who did you understand they to be when he's texting you from the police station saying he cannot get there?
Same objection.
I don't. Do you have any idea who the word "they" is?
No, I don't.
Sustained. Go ahead. Next question.
So you didn't have any assumption as to what they meant?
Sustained. Next question. He said he doesn't know.
Well, you're having a conversation with Paul Caneiro, right?
Yes.
And you didn't ask him who's they, right?
No, I did not ask him.
Okay. And is that because you kind of understood what he meant?
I'm assuming yes.
Okay. So you're assuming that at the time you understood what he meant when he said they.
Yes.
And ultimately, he's asking you on page 8, is my brother and Jen okay? I need to know.
Yes.
Okay. And do you have any idea why he's asking you for information?
I was either on the scene by then, or I know my wife was there.
Okay. And so he's hoping that you will give him information about what's going on, right?
Yes.
And ultimately, on page 9, at 156, Paul says, I can't breathe, and you don't respond to that, correct?
Correct.
Is that because you're busy at the scene or something else?
Probably by that time we were at the scene, and everything was chaotic that day.
Okay. And then at 8:15, you say, I'm so sorry for you meant loss, correct?
Yeah.
And so you're sending your condolences to Paul because, again, they're brothers, and this was a horrible thing that you found out happened, right?
Yes.
So, backing up a little bit, you mentioned that you are good friends with Keith, or you were good friends with Keith, and I'm sorry for your loss, by the way. Is that a yes?
Yes.
And you said you were very close and you saw each other all the time.
Yes.
You were friends with him for about 4 years,
I'd say that, yeah.
and your sons were friends too.
Yeah, Jesse and my son were very close.
And how often would you see Keith?
Typically went out to dinner or out to lunch about once a week.
And how often would you go to his house?
I don't know about once a week, but we were there often. Maybe every couple weeks, every 2 weeks, 3 weeks, we were there. It was either stopping by, saying hello, or picking something up, or.
So when you said all the time, you mean regularly,
Yes.
right? And pretty regularly.
Correct.
You would go there in the fall, spring, summer,
All the time.
winter.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry, we just have to.
I know. I apologize.
And so, and I think you said you described Keith's house. It's big.
Yeah.
You're familiar with the inner workings of it,
Yes, very familiar.
and that you assisted Keith with certain things.
Yes.
And you said that Paul would be there at least some of the times.
I can recall 3 times he was there.
It was 3 times. Okay. And you're aware that there were other times where you weren't there, but Paul was there helping Keith.
I assume, yeah.
Well, I don't want you to assume. Are you?
I don't know
aware
when
that-
he was there, when he's not there. I wasn't tracking him like that. I don't know if he was there. If I wasn't there, I don't know where he was.
What I'm asking is this. On direct examination, the prosecutor asked you who else, to your knowledge, helped Keith with, because he wasn't a very handy person. And you said he would call either you or Paul.
Correct.
So you did have knowledge that Keith would ask Paul to help him out with things that Keith wasn't able to do himself because he wasn't handy, correct?
Yes,
And this is based on firsthand knowledge.
correct.
So what are some of those things that, was it the pool? Was that one of them?
One of them, yeah, the pool, we changed the PVC pipes in the ground, we dug a hole and replaced the PVC pipes.
And like the solar panels or something like
Solar,
that?
there was some issues with solar panels that, I remember that, and then there was the drainage pipe, and then there was something in, I believe it was Sophia's room, there was about 4 times. Sophia's room had some type of valves or something in there that we were working on.
So Paul would help out Keith when Keith needed help with things.
Yes.
Fair? And when you went to Keith's house, were you like in all parts of the house, or were there any parts of the house that you did not go, like enter?
I've been all over that house.
So you've been in the basement.
Yes.
Okay. And did you ever hang out in the basement?
Yes.
What about that summer? Did you hang out in the basement that summer?
Yes.
Okay. And so you were there over the summer at Keith's house, correct?
Yes.
This is the summer of 2018. And so, is that a yes?
Yes.
You must be aware then that it was Corey Caneiro who was living in Keith's basement over that summer?
I don't remember Corey living there.
You don't remember?
No.
Okay, so you're not sure?
Corey was never around when I was there. He never was at the family gatherings. He was not around much of that. So I didn't know Corey at all, really. I met him once.
Okay, you met, let's just break that down. You met Corey one time?
I believe so, once or twice.
Okay, but you've met Paul numerous times?
Yes, a lot.
And you said every time you were with Paul, Keith was also there?
Yes, I was never with Paul by myself. Unless one time I did go to his house to pick
hedge trimmer?
Hedge trimmer, yeah.
And you had texted him about that, right?
Yes.
And so you were friendly enough with Paul that you were, I don't know if you were borrowing it or picking it up for Keith, but you were friendly enough with Paul that you were texting him that day about a hedge trimmer.
Yes.
And you never texted with Corey?
No. No.
Okay, and did you text, so you didn't text Corey that morning on the 20th to tell Corey that Keith's house was on
I didn't
fire?
have Corey's number. I would have texted him.
Did you make any efforts to get Corey's number?
No.
Okay. And when you also mentioned that you would see Paul at the family gatherings.
Yes.
And Corey was there maybe once or twice, you said, maybe?
Maybe, yeah.
Okay, but not much?
Not much.
Okay. And there were pretty regular family gatherings, right?
Yes.
There was Greek Easter, you said? Mm-hmm. Yes?
Yes.
Thanksgiving?
Yes.
Thanksgiving was at Keith's house?
I don't remember, but
Okay. Christmas? Were you around for Christmas?
we were around for Christmas.
And then Keith had a big pool, right?
Yes.
So were there like things over the summer with the pool?
Yeah. Always.
And did you know Claudia?
Claudia was the nanny, correct? Yes. I
So
knew
you
her.
were familiar with her?
Claudia and her husband, I forget his name. He was there for a while too.
Did you see them around a lot?
Yeah, I saw Claudia around a lot. I don't remember his name, but yeah, Claudia was there a lot.
And so she was like the kid's nanny, right?
Nanny, housekeeper, yeah, she was all that.
And are you aware that she was there like almost daily?
Yes,
Okay. And did you know Flavio?
I think that was her husband. Is that her?
Okay. Did he also do like kind of like groundskeeping stuff?
Correct, he
At
did.
Keith's house?
Yes.
And I don't know if you're aware, but are you aware whether he did it at Paul's house too?
I believe he did. Yes.
So you're familiar enough with Keith's life where you know these people in his life, right? You
Yes.
know Flavio, who does like kind of groundskeeping, maybe landscaping for Keith and Paul, and you know Claudia, who's the nanny, right?
Yes.
And you mentioned Keith's house was big, right?
Yes.
It's a nice house, right?
It's a modern house.
It's a modern house. It's like a kind of people describe it as almost a mansion,
Yes.
right? And it's very nice. It's very updated.
Correct. Yes.
He built the house, right?
He designed it.
He
Yes.
designed it, meaning like it wasn't already existing when he moved into
Correct.
it. He designed it how he wanted it.
That's correct.
And Keith owned multiple cars, right?
Yes.
A Maserati.
Yes.
Was that
I thought it was a Mercedes.
he
He had a Boxster in a Porsche in the garage,
Porsche.
and I knew he drove an SUV Mercedes. And I'm not. I think Jen might have drove in a Maserati. I'm not sure.
Jen had the Maserati.
Okay.
Okay. And Jennifer didn't work, right?
Not that I know of. No, she didn't work.
She was like a housewife.
Yeah.
She was a homemaker
Yes,
with Claudia's assistance, of course.
correct.
And we talked about some of these. Did you ever go on vacation with them?
We went to like Atlantic City with them.
Atlantic City?
Yeah, just the couples, not the kids.
Okay. Was Paul ever there with
No.
you guys? Were you aware of that Keith liked to vacation a lot?
We did.
And are you aware that he would travel to places like Miami and Greece and Florida and things like that?
Oh, yes.
And that a lot of times Paul would be there also with them.
I don't remember him ever being there with them.
You're unsure.
Yeah.
And when you say that you would hang out with Keith and Paul sometimes together, was that like at Keith's house? I think you said it sometimes at Keith's house, but also did you guys go out to lunch?
Went out to lunch a lot.
Did you out to lunch a lot? Did you go to Huddy's and Cold Snack and Domino's? Does that ring a bell?
I believe so.
Those are a couple places
Yeah.
you guys hung out at.
Yeah.
And did Paul ever come to your house?
He's been to my house before.
Was there a time where he helped you with water leaking into your home or something?
I think it was the hot water tank, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. And so he was trying to help you out with that?
Yes. Or a full filter. I forget what it was, but yeah, he's been in my house before.
Okay. Now, you mentioned on direct that you went that Saturday night. So let's just try to get the dates. It's a little bit easier. So the date that we were just looking at with the text messages, that's the date of the fire, correct?
20th.
That was November 20th.
Yes.
And that was a Tuesday?
I believe so, yes.
So then Monday would be the 19th. And Sunday would be the 18th.
Yes.
And Saturday would be the 17th.
Correct, yes.
So on Saturday the 17th, you're going to 618 in Freehold.
Yes.
Nice spot. With Keith, right?
Correct, yes.
And you said that during the time that you were at dinner with him, you gave him some advice.
Yes.
And the advice was he needed to take care of himself and, to stop. You said he needed to start worrying about himself and stop supporting Paul.
I said himself and his family.
Start supporting himself and his family and stop, worrying about or supporting Paul. Is that
Worried about everybody else, I believe. I don't know if I specifically used Paul as name, but that's who I was referring to.
okay? You did say everybody else, right?
Yes.
But then the prosecutor asked you if you meant Paul, and you kind of said, well, yeah, Paul.
Yes.
So are you saying it was just Paul, or everyone including Paul?
I don't really recall at the time who I specifically meant, but it was more geared towards Paul because of the
Okay.
situation that was going on.
Okay. And so are you talking about, financially supporting him?
Yes.
Okay. And so it's your impression was that Keith was supporting Paul to some extent financially.
Yes.
Okay. Well, are you aware that Paul was receiving a significant amount of income and disability that he...
I knew he was on disability. I didn't know the amount of money he was receiving.
Okay. So you weren't aware of what Paul's financial situation was
Correct.
with respect to that?
As with respect to what his salary was and what he receives with the business, I don't know anything about that.
Okay. So you're just kind of trying to be a good friend, and based off of what Keith's telling you, you're giving him the best advice you can in the moment,
Correct.
right? Okay. Did you ever meet Paul's kids?
Yes, I have.
Katie and Marissa? Have you met them before?
Yes.
Yes. Where did you meet them?
Keith's house. I don't remember. I know that the young lady she had a dog bite. I remember that one time.
Katie.
Yeah, I remember Katie. I don't recall. I know he had two daughters. I don't remember the other one's name or meeting her.
So again, you're familiar with the family.
Yes. Yeah.
And just to circle back to you mentioned on direct that you were aware that Keith was taking classes,
Yes.
online school.
Yes.
And were you aware, did Keith ever mention Paul helping him by like taking some of the lab classes for him?
No.
He never mentioned that. So, after this happened, eventually you were interviewed by the police,
Yes.
right? In the interview, was on December 4th of 2018. Does that sound about right?
Yes.
That's about 2 weeks later?
I don't remember the dates of that date. I remember being interviewed by the police. I don't remember what dates they were, though.
Sir, I know you mentioned that you don't remember the exact date. If I showed you a copy of your statement, would that help refresh your memory?
Yeah, of course. If you showed me the documentation, yeah.
So, Your Honor, may I approach?
Yeah.
So I'm approaching you with what's marked as S5, and this is a copy of the statement you gave to the police. I'm just going to direct your attention to...
The date?
Yes. And when, just read it to yourself and then let me know if you've got it ready.
I'm ready.
Okay. So does that help refresh your memory?
Yes,
as to
it
what
does.
date?
Yeah.
And what was the date?
December 4th,
Okay.
2018.
So this was 2 weeks later, right?
Yes,
But you were there that day on scene on the 20th.
I was.
And did you let anyone know, any law enforcement know that you were there?
Yes.
Did you speak to anyone?
Yeah, there was policemen all over the house,
And
all
how-
over the neighbor's house.
How did you identify yourself to them?
I was his friend,
His friend?
Yeah.
Like a close friend or just...
close friend. I'm assuming his close friend, I said.
And did you get the names of the officers you spoke to, or you're
I
not
don't
sure?
remember their names.
Okay. So you introduce yourself to whoever's on scene, you introduce yourself as a friend to these police officers, but you're not interviewed until 2 weeks later, right?
Yes.
And that was after Paul was arrested, right?
I don't recall when Paul was arrested.
Well, in the text messages, Paul never responds to you, right?
Which text messages?
The ones that we went through before?
At the end, no, he never
Yes.
responded.
And the last message was from you to him at 8:15, right?
That's correct. He never responded again. So.
Okay. And so, at the time that you were interviewed, the police started asking you questions. At first it was kind of like, just normal, what's your age, what's your occupation, are you married type questions, right? That's the
Yes.
beginning. By the way, you've seen this statement before?
Yes.
Did the prosecutor show it to you in preparation of your testimony?
They showed me yes.
Okay. It's really only, it's like maybe 2.5 pages at most, right?
Yes.
Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Now it's a typed statement, right?
Correct.
The police never videoed you and got a video audio statement, right?
I don't remember that being part of a video of it. If they had one in the room, they might have, but I didn't remember being videotaped.
Okay. So when they did this typed statement, was it like typed transcription, like word for word? Or did they have the questions written out already?
I don't remember.
Too long ago?
Yeah.
Okay. So after the initial questions about, just biographical type questions, the first substantive question they ask you is, please tell, and this is on page 2, please tell us what knowledge you have of the business relationship between Keith Caneiro and Paul Caneiro. Is that the first kind of real question they ask you?
Yes.
Okay. And I know it's been a while. Is reading that helping refresh your recollection maybe
Yeah.
as to the interview? Okay, you can take a moment if you want.
Okay.
Okay, you can put it down and off. So the questions that the police are asking you, they pertain to Paul, right?
Yes.
And they're asking you about the business. They're asking you if Keith discussed Paul's finances? Your answer to that was no.
I'm trying to recall, but I can read it here. Do you know what question that is?
It's on line, it's cut off, but it's like, I'll just come over there. You can just read it to yourself. I'm going to direct your attention to just like the questions.
Okay.
And this was your answer for this one.
Okay.
So, am I correct that they're asking you, again, about Keith and Paul's business relationship? They're asking about what would happen, whether Keith discussed Paul's finances with you and you told them no.
Correct.
Okay. And
The question is specifically around the exterminator business, if he sold it. So that's when I said no. That was the question. With the finances.
right, the question is, did Keith discuss what would happen to Paul's finances if they were to
Sell the exterminator business.
And you said no.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's correct. I said no.
Okay. And so Keith didn't discuss, again, I think you sort of said this already, Keith didn't discuss with you the specifics of Paul's finances.
Correct.
And, but the police are trying to see if you have any information about Paul's finances, right?
Right.
And then after that, they really only ask you a few more questions, and it's basically about whether you're aware of any electrical issues at Keith's house, basically how handy or not handy Keith is. Those are two questions that they asked you, right?
Yes.
And then we're going to go to the last question on page 4. And again, they're just asking you what, if anything, or whether Keith is handy enough to fix or attempt to fix certain things in his home, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and they're asking actually about a generator, right?
That is correct.
Okay. Now, they don't ask you at any point about Paul and Keith's personal relationship, right?
Not in this. No, they did not.
Okay. And, when we talked just now, it sounds like you are familiar with their dynamic, correct?
Yes.
All right. And they didn't ask you about anyone other than Paul, correct?
That's correct.
They didn't ask you whether, based on you knowing what you know about Keith's life, because you're close friends, they didn't ask you if there's anyone that you would be aware of that might want to cause harm to Keith, right?
Correct.
They didn't ask you if there's anyone in Keith's life who had threatened him recently.
Not that I recall, though.
Do you want to check your statement?
Yeah, I can check it. I don't. Correct.
They didn't ask you if you were aware of anyone who had threatened the family at all.
That's correct.
They didn't ask you anything about his marriage.
That's correct.
And they didn't ask you, since you are at since you're at Keith's house let me start there. They didn't even ask you how frequently you go to Keith's house, right?
No, they did not.
Okay. And they also didn't ask you, who you would regularly see at Keith's home.
Correct.
And they didn't ask you, they didn't ask you anything about a brother living in the basement, right?
That is correct.
They didn't ask you if there was anyone that Keith and or Jennifer were afraid of or had expressed any type of fear.
No.
And they didn't ask you anything about Paul's personality.
No.
They didn't ask you anything about Corey Caneiro, correct?
That's correct.
And they didn't ask you anything about Corey's dynamic with the family?
That's correct.
They didn't ask you the question I just asked you about how often you would see Corey with the family?
No, they did not.
And they didn't ask you anything about if you were aware, they didn't ask you if there was anyone in the family who had any tendencies of violence, did they?
No.
Objection, Judge.
I want to be heard at sidebar. So I'm going to, based upon what I have right now, I'm going to overrule the objection, allow the question to be asked again. Go ahead.
Thank you, Judge. So just, the question was, during the course of your interview, the police never asked you whether you were aware of anyone in the family, anyone, who exhibited any violence.
No.
Now, just to be clear, you were willing to cooperate with the police, right?
Yes.
Because Keith was your very close friend, and as his friend, you cared a lot about him.
Yes.
So
And-
any question the police would have asked you, you would have tried to answer to the best of your ability and help them out, right?
Yes.
If the police wanted to interview you for hours, you would be willing to give them your time.
Yes.
The statement that you gave, though, was only about 33 minutes, correct? And to refresh your recollection, the start time is on the front and the end time is on the back by your signature.
Yes.
Okay, so the police spent about approximately 30-ish minutes with you.
Yes.
You said you don't recall when Paul was arrested and charged with Keith's.
I don't know what the specific date and time that was, no.
At no point in your interview or when you were on scene or when you're texting Paul, there was no point in time where you were trying to bring to the police's attention that you thought Paul should be a suspect, right?
That day, no.
And even when you were interviewed on the 4th, you know, you're answering their questions, right?
That's correct.
Okay. You're not. Ultimately, when you texted Paul that day on the 20th, you did so because based on your knowledge, as of then, on the 20th, they were close brothers, and Paul would want to be there for Keith the same way Keith would want to be there for Paul. Is that fair?
Yes.
Thank you.
Redirect.
Paolucci, I showed you those messages on direct examination, correct?
Yes.
Okay. They were friendly between you and Paul Caneiro, correct?
Yes.
You had a good relationship back then, correct?
Yes.
And Keith had a good relationship with his brother, correct?
Yes.
And you
Judge, just objecting to the leading. I know it's.
I'm going to let him get to the point. Go ahead.
Mr. Paolucci, I guess my point is this. You were asked a bunch of questions about being, very familiar with Paul Caneiro and also close with Keith, correct?
Yes.
And you said they were very close, correct?
Yes.
Now, in that statement, I believe is up there in front of you. Do you have that statement still?
Yes, I do. The police statement,
That's
yes.
6, is that what it is?
It's 5.
That's 5, sorry. Now, you were asked some questions in that statement about the relationship between Paul and Keith, correct?
Yes.
So, on the morning of November 20th, 2018, besides Keith, you called who you thought might have information, correct?
That is correct.
And that was who?
Paul.
You called him despite some information that you had.
Objection leading, Judge. This is his witness.
Ask it another way.
Despite texting Paul, did you have information that was contrary to their rosy
Like if there was a rift between the two?
Yeah.
Yes, there was.
Did you have a conversation about that rift at dinner a couple days earlier?
Yeah, I talked to Keith about it.
And it surrounded what?
Money.
Money in what way?
Money that was taken from an account from Keith. Business account.
Who?
Paul.
Keith told you.
Correct. And Jennifer told me the same thing.
Despite that, though, you texted Paul that day.
Correct.
Okay. Now, you were asked a lot of questions about what the police didn't ask you, correct?
Yes.
And they asked you if you recall the names of any police officers or detectives you talked to on November 20th at the scene, correct?
That's correct.
Do you recall their names?
I do not.
I'm going to show you this. The report. I don't have the foundation.
Prosecutor, keep going.
I don't have, Judge, can I be heard?
Sure. Come on up.
Paolucci, I'm just going to show you what's marked as 258, S258 identification. I'm going to gather that you don't recognize that.
No, I don't.
Okay. Does that appear to be a Monmouth County Prosecutor's Office report?
That's what it looks like.
Does it indicate who the author is?
Authored by Ryan
Okay.
Mahoney.
Do you independently remember Ryan Mahoney?
I do not.
Judge, I would just renew my objection. This witness has no familiarity with this document. It's not authored by...
You can use any document to refresh somebody's recollection, so I'm going to overrule your objection. Go ahead, prosecutor.
Mr. Paolucci, do you remember specifically what you told any of the detectives on scene initially on November 20th, 2018?
No.
Okay. Do you remember talking to them?
I remember the officer that broke the news to us.
Okay. Now, I just want to ask you to take a look at this paragraph at the bottom, page 2 of 7. I don't want you to read it out loud. I don't want you to say anything. I will ask you a follow-up question. If you could just read that.
I read it.
Does that refresh your recollection as to like some of the initial information you gave to police?
It does, a little bit.
I just want to ask you one simple question. That having refreshed your recollection, do you recall who you were telling the police about?
Yes,
And who was that?
Paul Caneiro.
Was there a reason for that?
Yes,
And what was that reason?
the problems that Keith and Paul were having.
Do you know if whether or not on scene that day, the detective you were speaking to even knew if Paul Caneiro or Corey Caneiro even existed?
I don't know if he did or not. I don't know.
On the statement that's in front of you, S5, you were asked about that, the question on page 2 that you were asked, the first substantive question you were asked.
Yeah.
You see that?
Yes, sir.
That was about the business relationship.
Yeah.
Now, had you previously discussed the business relationship with police prior to that statement?
This is this. So let me get this right. This is the statement I went when the prosecutor's office, when I went to the prosecutor's office or to police station. I'm not sure where it was for this one. Yeah. Then that statement that you showed me before was the day of the November 20th.
On scene, let me just be clear. On scene, while the fire's going, are you there?
Yes.
And did you discuss the business relationship to police there?
Yes.
I have nothing further.
Just hold on for 1 second. Just for the juror's sake, can you go to the front page of S5? See the front page there? If you look at that front page, does it say where your statement was taken?
Front page. Let's see. Taken at Monmouth County Prosecutor's Office on Jerseyville Avenue in Freehold, New Jersey.
Okay. Is that your recollection of
Yes.
giving a statement there?
That is correct.
Okay. And then there was another statement at another time? Or it's another conversation? I said that wrong.
Yes.
Okay. Everybody understand? Okay. Any cross? Go ahead.
The statement at the prosecutor's office, you were, on that first page the judge directed your attention to, you were interviewed by 2 detectives. It says questioned by and then witnessed by, correct?
Yes.
And you were questioned by Detective Petrozello, is that right?
Yes.
From the Monmouth County Prosecutor's Office.
That is correct.
Okay, and then it says witnessed by, and it says Detective Mahoney, right?
That is correct.
Also of the Monmouth County Prosecutor's Office, right?
Yes.
So this 2.5-page statement was actually taken by the prosecutor's office, not by local police, right?
And they're detectives. I'm not sure if they're local police or not. I don't know.
Well, they're
I don't know how it works, but it says a detective, so I'm assuming a detective is a police officer.
So it says the detective, and then underneath it, it has their title.
Monmouth County Prosecutor's Office.
Right, so you're a detective with the Monmouth County
Okay.
Prosecutor's Office. Does that sound familiar?
Yes.
Okay. Now, the prosecutor asked you about, so let me just get this straight. You're texting Paul, telling him you need to go to Keith's house, right?
Yes.
You say, get to Keith's house now, you gotta get there, right?
Yes.
And Paul's telling you, I can't, I'm at the police station, but you're insisting that he should go there because something is wrong,
Yes.
right? And then you get there and you speak to a police officer, right?
Yes.
Now, that statement was summarized in the report that the prosecutor just showed you, right?
Yes.
It wasn't it's not like this one where it's question answer, and it's not like a transcript of what happened.
That's correct.
Right? It's just the officers recounting what they say you said.
That is correct.
Do you have an independent recollection of what you said 7 years ago?
8 years ago, no.
Okay. Because when I asked you initially if you had any conversations with any officers on scene, you seemed like you didn't really recall anything specific.
I remember we were very upset that we found out that the babies were dead. Jen was dead and Keith was dead, so we were all, I don't remember everything that happened that day, but everybody was crying, everybody was upset, so.
When you spoke to, where's that exhibit? The report? I'm going to show you again S25, S258. This is the report that they just showed you.
Yes.
Right? And who is the detective at the bottom?
Mahoney.
Okay, and that's the same detective who was present for your statement at the prosecutor's office a couple weeks later.
Yes.
After you're texting Paul and you're saying, you have to get to Keith's house, you have to get to Keith's house, something's wrong, my wife's crying, I don't know what's going on. Did you go there and like blurt out, this is what's happening with the brothers, or were you asked?
I don't recall if I was asked or if I blurted it out.
Okay. Well, when you were having your initial conversation with the police officer, would those be like the first words out of your mouth? Oh, there's a business issue?
No.
Okay. That came up during the course of a conversation.
I'm assuming yes.
Okay. And you mentioned to the detective at the time that you were aware that there was maybe some, like you called it a rift?
Yeah.
Okay. And you're aware that Paul and Keith, although close brothers, but they did own two businesses together, right?
Yes.
Things weren't always perfect, right?
Yes.
Have you seen them have disagreements in the past?
Not really, no. Not that I remember, like nothing, no.
Nothing that you personally observed?
No, nothing that was, no, nothing.
As far as you're aware, every time you experienced an interaction with the brothers, things were copacetic. They were fine.
Yeah, we were out to lunch, we were having lunch or dinner.
Okay. So, the issue with whether or not there was some sort of disagreement about the businesses, that doesn't come up until you're talking to a detective on scene, or an officer and someone.
Correct.
Okay. And the only person that you're hearing, the only side of the story you're hearing this from is Keith, right?
Keith and Jennifer.
Okay. Let's talk about that. Because the prosecutor asked you about money missing from an account, right?
Yeah.
And you were asked about that in your statement, right?
Yes.
Okay. And this is actually, you say, Jennifer mentioned 6 months ago that Keith was very upset with Paul, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you didn't hear this from Keith, you actually heard this from Jennifer.
But Keith also mentioned it.
Okay, well that's not what you said in your statement though, right?
He said Keith had also mentioned to me on the phone.
He said, don't get me started, right?
Yeah.
Okay, it doesn't say that he mentioned to you the money being taken from the account.
He did mention it. I
Okay,
remember
he
him
did.
recalling.
All right,
Come on.
and so when they mentioned to you, you're saying 6 months ago, does April sound about right?
For what?
From November? Whenever Jennifer and Keith mentioned to you the money missing from the account, would that be approximately April?
It looked like I said 6 months ago from the
Okay.
statement I wrote.
And you're estimating, right?
Yes.
It's not like 6 months to the day.
Yes, of course.
So you could be referencing the time frame of April.
Yes. Assuming if it's 6 months, I'm assuming that would be April, yeah, from November, or from December. If this is December, then it would probably be around June.
Okay. So, just to be clear, approximately April.
Well, I mean, if it says 6 months and this was in December, then I'm assuming that it was in June.
Well, that's what I'm asking you. Like, when you said 6 months, were you calculating 6 months in your head, or were you just like roughly 6 months ago?
I don't recall 6 months, but it looks like in December I mentioned 8 years ago that Jen mentioned 6 months ago, and this was in December, so 6 months would probably be around June or May.
Around June.
Yeah.
Okay. Or May.
Yeah,
Right.
depending
So
on, yeah.
April, May, June. Around that time, Jennifer and or Keith tell you that they were upset with Paul about money from an account?
I remember Jennifer mentioned first, and then I remember talking about it with Keith later on. It wasn't that same day that Jennifer mentioned it.
Okay. But you had interacted with Paul and Keith since then, right?
Yes.
And they weren't still mad, right?
Not that I saw.
Like, again, you said every time you were with them, things seemed copacetic and fine, right? So whatever it was, they'd gotten over it, right?
I don't know if they got over it, but I didn't see anything between the two that would say like we would still go out to dinner, we would still hang out, Paul was still around.
Right, it wasn't like Keith said to you, that's it, we're not hanging out with Paul, he's no longer invited, I'm still mad at him. That never happened.
No, he never said it to me, no.
Okay. Sir, you said that you were familiar with Keith's house, right?
Yes.
You had been there like plenty of times.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so you were familiar with the sort of like front side entrance of his home?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, I'm going to show you a photograph. It's marked D1-1. I'm just going to ask if you can identify what is depicted in this photo.
It's the front of his house.
Okay, and do you know how, based on this photograph, can you surmise how that photo is taken?
Yeah, you're standing at the front door. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like side, and then you're just staring at the front of I guess that would be the front of the house. The driveway's, you're coming up the driveway, and this is the wall you would see, and if you're standing at the front door, you're taking the picture from the front door out towards the side of the house, or the front of the house.
Okay. Permission to publish?
No objection.
Go ahead.
Can I just have that? Okay. So this is the photo we're looking at, and just to be clear, so this right here, I'm pointing to this this window in the middle of the in the photograph.
Wait a minute, that's right. There was a door that they never used because it was broke. Mm-hmm. It was next to those windows, and then you're right. There was a side entrance because that front door they didn't use it because it never worked, it never opened. Or there was something wrong with it. It either leaked or they never used it. They always used the side entrance with the coat rack.
Okay. And
You can kind of see the sill of the front door there. I forgot about that door. We never used that door. We always came in through the side.
So is this like a porch?
Yeah.
And you said there's a door here somewhere that's
Now,
broken?
right next, you can see the sill of the door on the floor there, next to the window. No, that's the stairwell. Come all the other
You're
to the
talking
wall.
about here?
To the wall.
Hold on for a second. Is this marked?
Yes, D1-1.
D1-1. Can we hand him the little stylus? Yeah, you can give that to him. Sir, tell us circle where you're talking about so at least we know where we are on this page.
That's the front door sill.
Gotcha.
There was a main door there. We would walk in through this side door here. All the time there was a coat room there.
Okay. And do you see the driveway depicted in this photo?
Yes, I do.
Okay, can you just circle the driveway, the general area? Okay, and is that a car that we see in the driveway also?
Yeah, that's part of the driveway. I mean, the driveway would go all the way down to the road. It was
Okay.
a big, long driveway. It was gravel.
And is this based on, we're looking at it, this is a nest photo?
I'm assuming it says Nest on there. Yeah.
Did you have knowledge of the fact that Keith had Nest cameras?
We have cameras everywhere in that house.
Okay, including this one, right?
Yeah.
Can you leave that there for a second? Can we print that?
Oh, wait, hold on, let me,
You got to go up. There you go. You got it.
That's good.
Yep. We're going to mark that as D1.1A. You said it was 1.1, D1.1?
Yes.
Okay. 1.1A for the record. Okay, you're good, Ms. Massillon. Sir, in the corner, there's a spot where it says undo there. Can you just hit that a few times? That'll take everything that you did off the screen. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Just one more question based on this photo. Was this the only house that you're aware of that Keith owned?
That's the only one I'm aware of that he owned.
Anything in Greece?
Oh, they had that house, he just redid the house in Greece, I'm
He
sorry.
was
Yeah.
working on a house that
He was working on the, I don't know if they finished it by the time this happened, but yeah, they were redoing the house where Jennifer's father would stay there all the time. In the summertime, he would spend the summers there.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Decker?
Judge, I have nothing further.
Okay, sir, you can step down. Thank you, sir. Just please make sure you leave everything there. Mr. Decker or Ms. Mastalone will clean it all up. You can go. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your time.